So it seems like every day new teasers keep coming about the new killer coming out. And this teaser specifically, this video teaser, piques everyone's interest. And I say that for one particular reason. You can see the killer crawling, or at least scurrying. Now you know me, I wanted a crawling killer ever since day one, ever since I even touched this game. But just to debunk some of the ideas I have about the crawling power, it just seems like it might be unlikely for many reasons specifically. And I think they would have gave a power like that to the Xenomorph if they had the chance, unless they were still testing that power and they just so happened to release it now. I mean, who knows? Possibilities is endless. But I'm starting to think that this video teaser might just be the final nail in the coffin. Like, I don't think we might see another really valid teaser until like Monday, or maybe even tomorrow, because Tuesday the 20th, that's when it is the PTB. You'll finally see what's been going on here. We know from the teasers yesterday that this killer does somewhat resemble the Rake, because if you look at the post yesterday on DBD's Instagram, they released a conversation between the movie crew of people, or friends just to say, texting, and then the friend so happens to run into the forest and find their other friend's phone and finds a picture of a hand, and that same hand and arm or body or whatever kind of looks very similar to what we see in the video of this unknown creature. My brother came up with a really cool idea for what the killer's power can be mimicking wise. He was basically saying, what if the killer can pitch you in the trance and it's almost like Deathslinger or Pinhead, to the point where your movement is immobilized and you're constantly going into that killer. So you're like you're in the tunnel vision trance, and once that happens, the body starts pulling towards the killer. It's almost like an invisible chain pulling close to you if you're facing Deathslinger, or if you're facing Pinhead, the portal chain coming to attack you and then slowing the movement down. But it's like you're going into that direction of the killer, which I think would be kind of cool. He also said it would be cool if the killer can mimic sound like generators or exit gates or etc. Anything that the survivors can interact with. So say if the killer was to see the aura of an exit gate or the aura of a generator, the killer can mimic that sound, possibly deceiving survivors into luring them into that location, where the killer can then move extremely fast towards that location. Or if that killer is already idle in that location, the killer can ambush the survivor and then get the attack from that point. But I do want to go back to this video because, as you can see, the killer is on all fours. In the story, it said that the killer stood up. It said that the killer was taller than Ashley when Ashley was like in that possession form. So I'm guessing this killer may have two forms similar to the Xenomorph, where the killer can then be on the all fours angle, where the killer is on all fours similar to the Xenomorph when the Xenomorph is in crawler mode, or when the killer is standing up. Maybe that's like a second part of the power or a second ability where the killer stands up and then does something that we're not aware of. The reason why I say endless possibilities within the power is because I want to put all my eggs in one basket of me thinking there's something where it's actually the complete opposite of what we're getting. Because it could be anything random that this killer could do we're just not aware of. Because I like to think that the devs wouldn't exactly put what we think we're thinking in the game. The devs like to take inspiration from folklore, creepypasta, true crime, and they put it into original killers. So what if they're just doing the same with this killer? I see that the vibe of this chapter, the way they're just teasing it, is very modern. You can see that even the text messages look modern. It's in modern day, where it has the date, it's even in 2024. You can even see on the cam, it says cam 2/15/02/24. Like the vibe, like the whole aesthetic of this chapter is modern day, is right now. So I'm just starting to think that it's their own spin on a creepypasta type killer. And the first creepypasta that comes to mind is the Rake, because not even does this killer not only just look like the Rake, it just sounds like the Rake too. But like I mentioned, the devs like to take inspiration, so it could be things like they took inspiration from Skinwalkers, the Rake, or anything that we're familiar with, and just inputted it into this one killer, giving this killer endless possibilities as to what they can do. But we know those ideas will be similar because it's similar to the ideas we're familiar with in real life, because we know of these folklores and creepypastas or whatever. And I feel like each teaser is slowly revealing what the killer can do or what the killer looks like. So after this teaser, after this video teaser, maybe like tomorrow or Monday, I feel like we're gonna get a very valid teaser of what the killer looks like or what the killer can do, one or the other, maybe even both if we're lucky. And then Tuesday we will see everything. We will see the reveal and what the killer can actually do, what the killer actually looks like, or whatever, what the map is, what the survivor is, you know, all that good stuff. But some of you have really valid ideas in the comment section that I didn't read yesterday, so I'm gonna read those now. Gangsta Bro 3406 said, I could be wrong, but it's weird. We see the monster's hand so close to the camera. It looks almost as if the monster was holding the camera. With the teaser of the guy going insane after seeing something on his trail jog, it makes me believe the killer would possess his victims to turn them into rake-like creatures. I mean, hopefully, I wanted a killer like that for a long time too. Maybe like a killer that after they sacrifice survivors, they could then turn those survivors into like guardians. The guardians could assist the killer, almost like the knight. But I think that idea won't be centered around actually sacrificing survivors. Almost like, say like if it's like Nemesis zombies and the killer can down those zombies and then those zombies turn into something more powerful. I could see the killer maybe doing something like that, where the killer actually has to take time to take out those AI zombies or AI whatever is assisting the killer, go up to them, do something for that AI, and then that AI winds up doing something different rather than just roaming the map and helping the killer call out survivors, you know, similar to how zombies do. Even though zombies don't exactly call out survivors, but they go in that animation where you know survivors is nearby. Games for Life 672 said, it's gotta be a skinwalker or a rake type monster. The chapter screams analog found footage or, yeah, exactly. I agree that it's basically those two put into one killer, because like I said, the devs like to take inspiration from what we know, so it could very likely be those two just in one killer, because I mean they both have very similar traits. So, and even in the first story that was told, it sounded like it could have been a rake or skinwalker type killer. So I like to believe that the devs literally read what a skinwalker was, read what the rake was capable of, or the creepypasta what the rake was, and they put it into that one killer. I could be wrong, but that's my theory. Showtime Man EU6WX said, from what we heard and saw, this is either a skinwalker or the rake. I believe that is a skinwalker only for the sole purpose that it is more likely to be added to the game, and it would make more sense for the entity to add a monster that can shapeshift and lure his victims in and feed them to the entity, and it would be much more faster to capture his victims. On the other hand, I don't think the skinwalker would share his food with the entity, but I don't know. If the skinwalker is added to the game, he will be my main, and if the skinwalker has other skins, one of the skins might be the rake skin, because they look so similar, but I don't know. Like I said, almost similar to what Games for Life said, the devs like to take inspirations, so it could literally be a skinwalker, or it just be something inspired by the skinwalker, or heavily inspired by the skinwalker, or even the rake. The entity can make the killer see what they want them to see. It can manipulate their mind. It can manipulate their everything. So regardless of what it is, the entity could take full control of that, you know? That's if that creature is not that powerful though. Don't Eat My Beans 8985 said, dang, I really was hoping for the Greys, but Skinwalker is cool too. It could still very well be aliens. I mean, we don't know, we didn't see exactly what the killer is. It could still be an alien humanoid thing or whatever that just so happens to be scurrying around due to the video we just saw, but it could still very much be an alien from some sort of unknown planet that happened to get taken by the entity. Who knows? Or we could just get an alien skin for it. Moto Mutant said, I'm so excited, but also knowing behavior, they will probably somehow make the killer some boring dash killer and call it a day. I'm afraid of that too. Like I said, I want it to be something where it's something innovative we never seen before. As much as I would love a killer that could crawl on the walls, I just find it more unlikely by the day. We will see. The devs happen to surprise us sometimes, maybe not. So I guess we will see the 20th on Tuesday what this killer can exactly do. I hope it's nothing boring or it's some sort of dash killer, because we literally just got Chucky, who's a dash killer. So I hope it's not that. The killer does seem fast, so judging from the killer's agility, it can seem like that could be possible. So I don't know. Sheriff 7491 said, I wish if they be brave and try something new. To be honest, Xenomorph was a missed chance. Imagine how cool it would be if a killer could jump on walls and jump at you. Exactly what I'm saying. Wanted that since day one. I think that would be the coolest power in the game, one of the most original ideas to have in the game, considering we never had nothing like that before ever. So for them to actually do something that requires that much effort into the game, I'll love that. I'll main the killer day one, and I think the rest of the community will be excited about this killer because it actually does something different that we've never seen before. The possibilities are endless of what this killer can do, because we only literally just seen a little bit. We maybe think it's something that we assuming that the power might be what we think it is already. It can just be something where the killer just so happens to crawl and dash at you. I hope it's not that, but it can very well still be that. I think there's certain ways crawler killers could work in the game. Whether you like my idea or not, my idea is posted down in the description. That was my video I made a while ago about how a crawling killer could work, or how I can see a crawling killer working. That's just how I think a crawling killer could work. But like I said, I could see them giving that to Xenomorph if they ever had the chance, and they never did. Not to say it in a bad way, like don't get me wrong, a Xenomorph is okay in my opinion. I definitely think that crawling on the walls would have been a cool concept for the Xenomorph, because the Xenomorph does do that. And who knows, maybe the devs wanted to do that too, but maybe they just don't have it to make that happen. I'm not like a games expert or something. I'm not no coding expert. I'm not no game technician or whatever. Maybe they just don't have it to make that happen right now. And who knows, maybe that killer might just do something different. I'm only saying that because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Because look at the time when the twins were getting teased, we thought we was maybe gonna see something crawling related, right? We thought we was gonna see a killer that could crawl on the walls. That's because in the teaser it sounded like Victor was galloping. It sounded like something was crawling, literally crawling on the ground. But turns out it was just a baby who could run around. And like I just said for a Xenomorph, when some people had seen the Alien teaser for when Alien was coming to the game, people thought the Xenomorph could maybe crawl on the walls or whatever, that being myself included. But this turns out that wasn't the case, and the Xenomorph could just crawl through tunnels. So maybe third time's a charm. We see the teaser, we see a video of this unknown specimen crawling on the ground, scurrying really quickly, by the way. That has to definitely be some sort of form that the killer could go into, because in the story they said that the killer is stood up and it seemed taller than Ashley. It looked taller than Ashley. So I'm guessing it stood up at some point. It can stand up at some point. I'm guessing the crawling can maybe be a default animation. That will be unique, where the killer is just always on all fours crawling all the time. So it's basically the Xenomorph that stays in crawler mode the whole game, and then when it uses its ability, stand up like a regular human person or whatever. That's just my best guess. But your guesses are as good as mine, so let me know down below what you think is happening with this chapter and with this killer. With all the teasers that we've been getting, and we're probably going to see more, what do you 100% believe what this killer is going to be? I'm starting to at least 98% believe that it's something that's heavily inspired by creepypasta. That creepypasta being the Rake, Skinwalkers, Wendigos, basically folklore and creepypastas that we're familiar with, implemented into one killer. That's what I think the killer's gonna wind up being. That just sounds like the high possibility for me, but I could be wrong. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Love y'all, take care, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, and peace.